If you could use saliva in your office to test one of the most studied molecules in the history of medicine for $1, wouldn't that be a good idea? You probably guessed I'm talking about nitric oxide, which is responsible for heart health, sexual and sports performance, restorative sleep, energy, and a healthy immune system, among other benefits. I was at a medical meeting and an exhibitor was giving doctors a saliva test to measure nitric oxide. I tested fine, bought a container of test strips, and quite honestly, forgot about them. However, a doctor shared a case history that has remotivated me to test all my patients for nitric oxide. My colleague was taught by Dr. Wolfson, author of The Paleocardiologist, that since this molecule is so important, everyone should have their nitric oxide checked. My colleague described his patient as a hardworking man in his early 40s with a family history of heart disease and had mild hypertension. After several months of conventional therapy, he was tight, stiff, rigid, and still difficult to adjust. He definitely had white coat syndrome. Remembering Dr. Wolfson's lecture, my colleague tested nitric oxide with Berkeley saliva test strips. The saliva test is conducted away from food and shows a pretty pink color when sufficient. His nitric oxide level was completely undetectable. Here was a guy who drives an hour to work each day, performs physical labor for 8 hours, then comes home and helps his wife with 7 children. Stressed to the max. He was a heart attack waiting to happen. My colleague suggested that he eat more fruits and vegetables. Sadly, he didn't follow the dietary suggestions, but he did take a scoop of nitrogreens every day. 6 weeks later, he retested him and found he had optimum levels of nitric oxide. His tight, rigid muscles were more relaxed, and he was easier to adjust, and his adjustments were holding. As I listened to the report, I remember that my nitric oxide report was optimal, probably because I take nitrogreens 5 to 6 times a week. I know we're only talking about 2 people, so we don't want to make huge assumptions. However, nitrogreens was developed to increase nitric oxide naturally. Nitrogreens was developed by Dr. Bas Kutab, who holds degrees in both medicine and chiropractic, as well as advanced degrees in naturopathy, acupuncture, and philosophy. Dr. Kutab actually wrote a small book on nitric oxide. He says it's one of the most studied molecules in the history of medicine. Nitrogreens is made from heirloom seeds and is loaded with organic nitrates, which are converted to nitric oxide. The product is high in chlorophyll and has natural chelating abilities toward toxins and heavy metals. But perhaps one of the greatest benefits is how it provides buffers to naturally alkalize an overly acidic pH. Nitrogreens contains a proprietary blend of raw organic grass juices, barley, wheat, oat, alfalfa, and kamut, raw organic sprouted vegetable concentrates, broccoli, cauliflower, and kale. Nitrogreens also contains raw organic beet and carrot juices, organic acerola berry extract, and organic peppermint leaf. Because the grasses are harvested before the plant begins its reproductive cycle, sometimes called splitting, budding, or jointing, the grasses are gluten-free. The vegetables provide a rich source of phytonutrients, including isoflavones, polyphenols, natural carotenoids, as well as naturally occurring enzymes, vitamins, and trace minerals, all of which aid the body's natural ability to reduce toxins. In-house phytochemistry lab testing at Biotics Research Corporation guarantees that nitrogreens is free of heavy metals and environmental toxins. Some plants offer more nitrates than others. You can see a link where researchers rate different plants. You'll see that the greens take the lead. As you've seen, nitrogreens has a deep, rich green color. Some commercial products are over-oxidized, which can easily be seen by a brownish color. Several years ago, I interviewed Dr. Kutab and created a patient education CD. Feel free to contact us for a copy to use with your patients. Sometimes having another expert telling your patient the benefits will increase compliance. Undoubtedly, you'll see many companies have products that are supposed to increase nitric oxide. The beauty of a product like nitrogreens is because it's organic, clean food, it supports the body in many ways. There is a place to use nutrients as drugs. However, using food as medicine yields all kinds of collateral benefits. For example, we know the microbiome and gut healing are the current buzzwords in medicine. The foods in nitrogreens support both the microbiome and gut healing via multiple mechanisms. Since nitric oxide helps to maintain, defend, and repair every cell in the body, why not invest $1 and test every new patient? Suggest nitrogreens at 1 to 2 scoops a day to help them build the cellular reserves necessary for optimal health. retest in 60 days, and of course, have your patients increase natural foods that facilitate nitric oxide production. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday.